Hello, and welcome to our secret story of stuff. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Jacob, and today we're going to focus on tea. Not Brisk, the refreshing beverage, but actual tea. You know, the drink that is one of the reasons why America exists. It all started with the 7 Years' War. It was going on from 1756 to 1763. Britain and France fought over the control of sugar colonies, and Britain came out victorious, but it came at a cost.
After the war, the British economy was at an all-time low, so what better way to fix that than to tax their new American colonies? In 1765, the English Parliament enforced a measure, that was the Stamp Act. In place, colonists were required to use stamped paper for everything. The emblem was to show if the person paid tax for the paper. The colonists were furious with the act. They were mad that they were being told by a government across the world that they had to pay taxes. Not only that, but they didn't even have a person to represent or fight for them. This is where the term taxation without representation came from. Though with much backlash, Parliament repealed the act.
After they repealed the law, they replaced it with the Townshend Act. This measure was made so that the colonists would have to pay taxes for their basic necessities such as lead, glass, paper, paint, and tea. Through the years of this law in place, the anger of the colonists was building, and it didn't stop growing. It was until December of 1773 when rebels dressed in native clothing and snuck on board the British boats, and then they proceeded to toss tons of tea overboard, sending it into the cold water below. They threw roughly 340 crates of tea, which would be worth about $1 million in the U.S. today. This night was known as the Boston Tea Party.
One night, which is now known as the Battle of Lexington and Concord, hundreds of British soldiers marched into Concord, Massachusetts. Paul Revere, a local patriot, warned everyone in town to get the militia ready. As the two armies collided and the outnumbered colonists were about to retreat, a gunshot was fired. That moment was known as the shot heard around the world, which started the Revolutionary War.
The Revolutionary War took place from 1775 to 1783. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed, and that cut the colonists' political connection to Great Britain. The Americans declared themselves as their own nation. The colonists were severely outnumbered. France allied with them and joined the battle in 1778. At the start of 1782, the British Parliament voted to stop any attacks on the colonists, and the war was over between Great Britain and the American colonists.
What was so inspirational about the American Revolution was how it was an uphill battle. The untrained and outnumbered colonists managed to defeat the British, who had one of the most powerful armies at its time. It is also the reason why America started. We may call the American Revolution the War of Independence, where the American people were given freedom from the British, but not everyone was given the same freedom. When the Founding Fathers signed the Declaration of Independence, they were only benefited themselves. They wrote the line, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal," meaning that the men were given the same rights. But that wasn't the same for the black people and women in the colonies, who later had to fight for their freedoms and rights. If you look at all the impacts that were made when starting the foundation, you have to ask yourself, were the actions worth it? America might have been better off if the British won the war. The British ended slavery early without a civil war. They even promised freedom to the American slaves if they fought with them. The American Revolution was the beginning of the world's most powerful country, but also created a byproduct, and not necessarily a good one. That byproduct is the start of American culture. The American culture that shaped the country we live today. There's no way in telling if we'd be better off with the British, and this isn't something that we're able to change now, but it's something that we should be aware about. All of this happened because of this tiny bag of mushed up leaves.
Like and subscribe for a free gift card giveaway, link in the description.
I like that. Can you actually include that in the video?
I'll include that too. Goodbye. End scene.
Is it goodbye?
You know what I just realized, guys?
You love us.
We're gonna have to sync the music, or like the voice and the camera.
Dude,
Then Anna said that we should use our